Hi, Teacher Mac.
Hi, Jasline.
Okay, today I'm so privileged to have you again to share our part 2 of our comprehension tips for
I'm
PSLE.
so excited.
Yes. So we have learned so much from you from the first session. You have given us valuable tips, for children and students of different kind of English levels, right?
Correct.
So because as we know, comprehension is really a skill-based, right? Skill-based testing. Yes. So we should all be, let's all have positivity, like in my 3M system, I teach positive mindset, okay? So please, for students out there, do not think that you cannot do the question, okay? And do not leave blanks, because this is something that when I see the students do, I actually very heartache because I feel because
I know.
I always ask, right? You ask why do you want to leave blanks, right?
Yeah.
So we're all here.
That's absolutely true.
That's right. So we're going to reduce the pains of students, okay, and parents, okay? Because when I was a parent, I realized that my children will get single digit, I mean, in the comprehension upon 20, they'll get single digit. Then I will just be very shocked, and I will be sarcastic and say, okay, single digit, okay, fine. So today we are going to have 3 questions as well. Those commonly questions, or mistakes or students have about comprehension, okay? So the first question I have is that, how do we need to know how do we read questions so that it will help us to answer the questions? Yeah.
That's a really great question. How to read questions. Right? You don't want to just skim through questions. Questions are actually the most important part because this is where you're going to be getting your marks, right? On how well you can answer the question. So the first thing to look at is question keywords, such as your 5W and 1H. I'll repeat that, 5W and 1H. These are going to be the key areas, because if I change a 5W, 1H, it's going to change the question entirely, right? The question, who are you? Versus where are you are very different questions, and I've only changed that one 5W1H. So you want to start by looking at those words first. And these 5W1H questions are also hints as to what type of question you're going to be looking at. So for example, if I have why, right? Whenever I see a why question, this is going to be an inference question, right? Inference. So what does this mean is we have to think about ideas outside of the text, right? The answer is not directly in the passage. We have to understand what is going on from either the author's perspective, right? Or just based on, our general knowledge, and evidence, right? So we have to infer when we have a why question. So that's our first step, is 5W1H. Now, a second important thing to look at is the line numbers or paragraph numbers, right? This is going to help you narrow down where to look in the passage, right? It's always so, heartbreaking when I see students looking in the entirely wrong place, right? When it says right there, line 23.
It's paragraph 1, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Paragraph 1, right? So this is really important for our students to understand, is making sure you're looking in the right areas. So we have our 5W1H, our line numbers, but also specific keywords to the question. Each text is going to have, different ideas. And the questions are also going to give you clues as to what to look for in the passage, right? So if they're talking about, feelings, then you want to look for feelings in the paragraph, right? So question keywords are also very important.
So I also would advise them to students to actually underline or highlight. I think annotating question, I think
correct.
It's very important that we understand the question before we even attempt it. So I think a lot of students have made this mistake. They actually imagine the question, like what Teacher Mac said. It's a why question or a where question, but in the end, it becomes a what question, answer. So I think the 5W1H is very, very, very useful. Okay, I thought it was for composition only, but now you have told me it actually can be used for comprehension. So if for those students and parents out here do not know what is 5W1H, right? Okay, it's actually the where, the what, the how, the why, and the who, right? And the H will be the how. Okay, so let's all remember this as one of our strategies for comprehension as well as composition as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the second question I have is that I have actually also a heartache when I see students, they actually make mistakes, in terms of grammar or tenses, and then the teacher would circle and say minus half, minus half.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So do you have any good tips for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the foundations of English is based on the words that you use, right? Similar to math. If you put one number wrong, then the whole answer might be wrong. You might get marks for showing your work, but you're going to lose marks for your final, answer. And it's the same for English, right? Making sure that you have, the proper tenses, the proper grammar is just the same as math or science, making sure you have the right measurements or, the right numbers. So what I recommend my students to do is to always check their GPS, right? Their GPS. And when they hear this, they're like, GPS, you mean like Google Maps, And yes, I do mean similar to Google Maps. Your GPS is your guided positioning system, right? It's going to show you where to go to get to your destination, right? And it's the same thing in English. We have our GPS, our grammar, our punctuation, and our spelling. And this is going to navigate you towards your goal, which is your A, right? If you check your GPS, then you're going to be going on the right track. So remember, right, to check your grammar, punctuation, and spelling. Once you have finished your work, you can review your answers if you have time. Yeah, absolutely. Very good tip.
Yes, this is a fantastic tip, GPS, grammar, punctuation, and spelling, and that's what English is about. And yeah, I think the point about going to the destination that you want, is a kind of a mindset, which all students should know is that they want to get to the grades that they want, the marks that they want. That's why you are here, to do the examination. So always remember to check your answers. It's not only in comprehension, but every aspect of English, even in other subjects where you need to answer in English, okay?
Correct.
So I always tell my students, have pride in your work. That's one of the important things that you should do when you hand out any piece of work, okay? So I think we just want a very simple tip, Is it, what's the easiest way to find that your answers are probably correct, the true-false question.
Great. So true-false questions are very common question types. They're going to show up on every single open-ended comprehension for, primary school. And I also get a lot of students who struggle with this. They might be able to tell me if it's true or false, but then they don't have the evidence or vice versa. So the first thing to recognize for true and false questions is that it's never going to be all true. And it's not going to be all false, right? So at least one of those answers is going to be true and at least one is going to be false. So what you want to do is start with the ones you know for sure, right? You've read through the passage, the truth or the false, right? The ones that you know for sure, right? Definitely, exactly. Right. That never happened in the story.
So
that's
that means,
false.
For example, there's 3 questions and you just go attempt the one that you're so sure of, is it?
Correct, right? You want to start with the one that you're very sure of. You know for sure this was not in the text or it was absolutely in the text. And there's probably a reason why you said it is there or not there, true or false. So you want to go through the text again to look for that area of the passage as your evidence, right? So just by doing that, tackling the first one you know for sure, you've now narrowed it down to a 50-50 option for the other 2 remaining, right? It's either going to be true or false. So again, the same strategy, you want to consider which one do you know happened or did not, right? So this is really the true test of reading comprehension, right? Because the word comprehension is about understanding, right? It's reading and understanding. So in order to do the true-false question, you really do have to understand the ideas of the passage, right? So the whole passage, right? Getting the bigger picture. So not just paragraph by paragraph as we discussed before, but the overall idea. And I will tell you that the answer is always in the text, right? There's always going to be evidence for you to find, right? So if you are very aware of the understanding of the passage, you should have no problem.
It's just finding where is the answer,
yes.
And then positively, write the answer down, okay? Don't give up. That's what I want to tell students here. Okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Teacher Matt.